Hi, I am Cosplay Gal, and we are doing a fun character today in our second bedroom, which is theoretically the bedroom where all of my cosplay stuff is, as you can probably see behind me. So normally I don't do any kind of videos like this for like variety of reasons. One being I am not a makeup expert. But I did want to just try something like this and see how it goes. Also, I think it's really important to have a little bit of representation for those cosplayers like myself who just sort of do it as like a super fun creative hobby. And we are not definitely experts, but we love to show like what we do know, and then maybe we can like learn from each other. So that is kind of my goal for today. I already have like my base on, and then wearing some Valentine's Day themed version of the earrings of my character, who today will be Monique from Kim Possible. As you all know, it is Black History Month, otherwise known as 28 Days of Black Cosplay. And I have been intentionally trying to cosplay characters who are either Black identified or are created by Black creators. And so this time I chose Monique, mostly because I love her as a character. I really identify with her, and mostly because she is the voice of reason in the KP world, and that is kind of what I do for a living as a therapist. And so I thought, you know what? Monique is where it's at. As y'all probably know, Monique has slicked back black hair, blackish brownish hair, and it's sort of wavy. And what I like to do a lot of times, sometimes I'll do like a little bit more of like an accurate in-depth cosplay, like my work in progress Electra, which is recently on my mannequin right now. However, I do really love to do characters that I can sort of closet cosplay with, aka casual cosplay, where you're just sort of like wearing clothes that are like super reminiscent. So this is sort of reminiscent of their gear that they wear when they're on a mission. So we'll just go ahead and get started. Right now I'm just doing my face, and then I will throw my wig on and call it a day. So one of the things that I've noticed about my own particular face is that, so I do have psoriasis, and because of that, things can get a little hard in terms of like putting makeup on, because I get like lesions, for lack of a better term, where they're just sort of like raised red bumpies that I have to like try to get rid of. I sort of did that now, but we'll just sort of keep going and see what we can do in terms of cosplaying her as accurately as possible. So like most other characters in the KP universe, her face is actually like very one-dimensional, so I'm trying to do as like most coverage as possible. And then obviously she has like very thin, expressive eyebrows. And luckily for me, my eyebrows don't grow in certain places. Like I'm sure most other people's don't either. So it actually works out. And then the only thing that I'm gonna try really hard to sort of mimic will really just be the lips, because that is the signature sort of KP art style. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try to do what I can for the eyebrows. Since they are pretty expressive, I'm not worried about having to like glue down my eyebrows, because they are pretty like rounded. There's definitely like a curve here. And because I know that there's not too much of an arch, I'm gonna try to make them as straight as possible. So I'm just gonna use my Anastasia Hills brow pencil and just use the little hair-like strokes. Just trying to keep it as sort of in line as possible with like the smallest amount of arch, which is a little unfortunate. I will definitely have to go over this with some more concealer, because if you notice, my hairs definitely like arch up more, my natural eyebrows, so I will just have to work on that. One of the things that I love to do, though, in sort of tying what I do in my everyday life to cosplay, is that I'm actually a therapist, and my expertise is in anxiety related disorders, including like OCD, phobias, generalized anxiety. I actually really love this particular branch, mostly because like anxiety is a very normal emotion, as all emotions are. But one thing that I think a lot of people don't know about anxiety is that it actually is best when you do something called exposures with them. And if you know me in my everyday life, I love exposures. I am the exposure queen. I'm always saying it. I sometimes annoy myself how many times I say it in a day. But exposures are actually really difficult for people because obviously you're exposing yourself to something that causes anxiety or discomfort of some sort. And because of that, people tend to avoid it. People tend to not want to do exposures. So why is that in relation to how I do cosplay? Well, I used to have at least some issues with perfectionism. And perfectionism, which is like widely misunderstood, because people tend to think like straight A students, people staying up 6 hours a night doing homework. And yes, those people do absolutely exist, but exposures with perfectionism are basically focused on flexibility, right? Because the whole point of perfectionism is that you feel rigidly about something, right? Whether it's your expectations of yourself or others sometimes, or even how you believe certain things should be. And as you can imagine, with cosplay, there is a version, sort of camps, I guess, of cosplay, where some people are super, super into accuracy. And as you can imagine, accuracy would cause a lot of rigidity around how you should look. If you're trying to be as close to the character as possible, if you're trying to be as, I guess, specific to not just the face and the makeup, but also like the clothing, it can cause a lot of people a lot of stress. And it sometimes can cost a lot of money, or take a lot of time, or take a lot of skill that not all of us have. So I learned a while ago, because I've been cosplaying for about, I'd say about 10 years now. And as you can imagine, I started off wanting to be incredibly accurate, for lack of a better term, and what ended up happening, obviously, is that was not happening for a majority of reasons, right? Some of it was because obviously I didn't have the skills yet, and honestly, I still kind of don't. But others were actually because it costs a lot of money. As y'all can imagine, cosplay can be a very rewarding type of expression, but it can also be very expensive, especially if you are buying most of the things. So you don't have to. Obviously, there are people who make it themselves, but that can get expensive as well. I don't know if y'all have ever been to like Joann Fabric, but it is expensive. I can't even tell you how much that cost. So as you can probably imagine, I had to learn to accept a long time ago, through just doing it and sort of accepting how it looked, that I was not gonna always look exactly like the character. And that's okay. because I just use flexibility statements like, how am I supposed to look like a character that was drawn by a very specific person? I'm not an artist, so it's not like I would come close to being able to mimic the style, as I'm sure some people do. I just sort of do my own take on it. So that actually ends up happening where I'm doing a lot of versions of cosplay, like 80s version or steampunk version or some sort of like iteration of characters that I really love. So just sort of looking at what I've done so far, I don't hate it. I think my eyebrows might be a tad thicker than they need to be, but I can just say that this is the millennial version. That's my favorite, actually, is just sort of millennial-fying most characters, which basically just means using the what's in now, which is obviously, you know, thicker, well-defined eyebrows, rather than doing exactly what it's supposed to look like. So let's move on. I am going to use, I like the NYX Sculpting highlight pencil. I usually use this in my everyday life, but I felt like it might have been too thick for what I was trying to do. But I am going to use the highlight part just to make it even more. And I use that sometimes too for my nose. So I'm going to put that aside for my nose. So if y'all remember with Monique, super cute. Obviously, she is very rounded eyes, very expressive. So what I think is I'm just probably going to do what I normally do for eyes, maybe try to make them look a little bigger, a little rounder. And what I usually do for that is I'll usually use, this is the Benefit Hoopla Contour, so it's a bronzer. And the thing about bronzers, especially if you're as pale as I am, they almost always end up looking like just like brown shadow. They end up being a lot bigger than I need them to be. And they're a little too dark typically. But that's okay because then you just blend the crap out of it. So sort of going back to what I was talking about in the eyebrow section when I was talking about perfectionism, let me just give you an example. Especially what I'm doing now, right? When you have two of something, the urge to make them exactly the same, I mean, that's just a human urge. As human beings, we see patterns everywhere, right? That's how our brains work. And it's because of that, we really like when things are symmetrical and even. And the thing I have to tell myself, the flexibility statement that I normally have to tell myself is, they are sisters, not twins. And that's actually really helpful because I have to tell myself this a lot. But they are sisters, not twins. And that it'll still look good, even if it's a little off, even if it's a little asymmetrical. Not a big deal. So Monique also has like the cutest little button nose ever. And if y'all didn't notice, I don't. But that's all right. Let's see what I can do about just making it a little straighter. And one of the things that I've come to love and accept about myself, again with the perfectionism, is that I am who I am, and I look how I look, and there's nothing wrong with that, which is easier said than done. Sometimes it's not even easy to say, but you know, that's just, I guess, par for the course when you look different than whatever in terms of feature, but whatever feature is in style at the moment, especially if you don't share that feature. Sorry. How to put chapstick on. I have sensitive skin, which also means I get dehydrated like really easily. And I don't know if you know this, but like lip smackers, the like soda flavored ones, I love these. I used to eat these as a kid. Root beer is my favorite. I don't have root beer, I just have cherry cola. So going back to what I'm trying to do here, I'm just trying to make my nose as thin as possible because they have really thin noses, right? And back to sort of my quest to find, I guess, like some sort of bronzer that isn't this dark. Clearly I haven't found it yet. But because I have such light skin, it is really hard sometimes to find things that work for me. Because a lot of times when I put it on my face, it just looks dirty. Or worse, it looks like I just drew on my face, which is not inaccurate. That's what I'm doing, but not in a way that actually works, right? I also know when you have to heavily contour, a lot of times people have to pose too when they do the pictures, because otherwise, like, you might look to the side and it like really does look dirty. And like I said before, I am not a genius at makeup as much as I would love to be. And so because of that, I have to just sort of accept what I can do, which honestly is not a lot, but I do what I can. So I'm just trying to like darken these up, trying to shorten my nose by creating shadows, which honestly is a lot harder to do than it looks. And I really envy people who are like super, super good at this. But whatever, right? Practice makes perfect. And that's why I gotta practice until I'm perfect. Just kidding. Can't be perfect. That's unattainable. But I can try my best and get better. So just gonna boop. I also have like zero editing skills. So this, I don't know how like normal videos like this are, where I'm like literally just talking while I put makeup on and it takes forever. So, totally fine. All right, I just wanted to set my eyebrows. So I'm using Anastasia's clear eyebrow gel. And again, I'm just smoothing them so they're as straight as possible, which is very hard for me, as you can tell, because I have like strangely arched eyebrows. I'm not sure why, but whatever. I'll take it. So we're pretty much done with like the face. All I have to do now is I think because they have rounded eyes, I think I'm gonna do my eyeliner in a way that sort of follows the natural roundness of the top, but then maybe pulls it out a little bit more, because my eyes are like a really interesting mix of like rounded almond. Just like not a bad thing, it's just not helpful when I'm trying to become a character. Sorry for that. My cat likes to bully me. He likes to tell me when it is time to eat, which I'm assuming is now. It's a little early, but you know. I also read somewhere a long time ago, I think like 5 years ago, that when people are concentrating, especially when they're putting makeup on, they will tend to like open their mouths a little bit. So I like purposefully will close it as like, I don't know, because I don't like being told what to do. I'm just kidding. I think I purposely close it because I don't want people to look into my mouth. There we go. Again, this is sort of what I mean when I say I'm not like the best at makeup. A lot of times I'll like make a mistake and then I'll just like keep going over it until it looks the way I want it to look. I don't know how like helpful that is, if that's a smart thing to do, but I do it. See, that one went up a little too far. So one of the tricks that I do, and I'm sure a bunch of other people do this too, is I'll take like a makeup wipe, but I'll take like a small little piece of it, so I'm not wasting anything. And because I always do my nails, I'll like put it right here to where it's like the nail is poking through, and I'll just dab, 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 because we don't want to take too much off. Sorry, he's an orange tabby, so they're like really, really vocal, especially around food. He's the love of my life. Besides, you know, like the actual love of my life. Okay, well, I did my best. All right, so I'm gonna let that dry for like a hot second. And then I might try to use a smaller one. Wait, that's not one. I have like 3 of these. These are the NYX That's the Point liquid ink liner. I prefer these because I have a really shaky hand. Oh, much better. I have a really shaky hand, which is not my fault. I mean, I do what I can, right? But because it's a really shaky hand, I can't usually use like things like pomade, and I really can't use a pencil because it just goes everywhere. But if it's like a liquid or an ink liner and it's like a point, I can just drag it across. Even though Kim Possible, the I guess style of the graphics, do have like rounder eyes, they're like not big anime eyes, so I'm not gonna go too crazy. I think I might take my NYX, well, I have a lot of NYX products. I'll take my NYX white pencil and just do like in the waterline, but that's it. Because sometimes with the anime, I'll drag it down onto the lower lid, but this time I'm just gonna do the inside. And I hope y'all are like me and you clean these after every use, because it is literally in your eye. I think sometimes, especially if I'm doing a lot of cosplay, I might forget, and then I almost always have some sort of reaction. A not good one. So I just clean that with a little piece of towel. Okay, so I'm like basically done. I'm gonna do a little bit more of highlighter. So again, Monique's face is like rounded up here and then comes to a point. So like, I'm just gonna create like a little L shape here and then add more to the nose, because why not? And this is Maybelline's Nouveau Master Strobing Stick, which is like super pretty. It's not as like in your face highlighter as I guess like other highlighters are. Sometimes I wonder if maybe I should have gone more intense, but you know, it's fine. So I'm just doing like a layer here. I do have like pretty long lashes. So like sometimes if I'm feeling like extra lazy or if like my eyes can't take it, I'll just like leave it like this. But today I'm gonna try to do magnetic lashes, which are my new favorite thing, mostly because I've never been good at fake lashes. I've never been good at the glue and waiting for it to get tacky and then putting it on. Like, I've been really bad with placement. I also don't have 20/20 vision. If y'all couldn't tell, I am wearing contacts. I'm blind. And because of that, I've never been good at like depth perception, which I recognize you're like, what does that have to do with one another? But they do. At least for me, they do. So anyway, I like 1-2 Cosmetics. I love them. They're a little expensive, but their products are super quality, and as long as you like take care of them and like clean them and the like, then they'll last you for like a while. So her eyes are rounded, so I want to maybe put sorry, this is what I mean. It's like my eyelashes are like super long, so I gotta put it between. All right, so what do I want? Probably right there. Yeah. So these particular lashes are just the half lashes, and they're the natural ones. I prefer the half lashes for a majority of reasons. I just find them easier to put on, and I tend to like really prefer my looks to be like super understated and like, you know, as natural as possible. Okay. I did my best. I'm just gonna put a little bit more on here. If you're still with me, then like, you have an amazing attention span. As a clinician and adult with ADHD, I commend you. Or maybe you're a fellow ADHD brain and you're just like sucked in. I don't know. Okay. So the last thing we want to do is I'm going to take my, this is my foundation that I use as coverage. It's by Trey Diana, which is actually a person's small business in the area, and she's awesome. She mixes her own stuff, but she mixed this for me a while ago. I just felt like we were in the middle of a pandemic, and she mixed this for me. From a summer ago, and like most people on this planet, I tend to have slightly different skin tone depending on the season. Sorry, I'm just trying to like get it to set, because if you remember, Kim Possible has like strange lips where it's like the top is like one line and then the bottom is like there's just a line underneath it. So I'm actually gonna apply 2 coats just so like it sets in, just in case. good enough. And make sure I still have my little slab of I'm just waiting for it to dry, sorry. And I'm waiting for my thought to finish. Oh, the ADHD strikes again. What I'm trying to do is, what I'm trying to say is that I'm gonna have my little piece of makeup wipe ready because I'm gonna probably need to wipe it a few times. Because like I said before, I am not a makeup artist. I am not a fancy makeup person. And my skills are, you know. So I'm just gonna use my Anastasia Hills brow pencil because it is a soft brown and that is around the color scheme of most of the lips anyway. So the bottom lip is kind of just like a trace. And my bottom lip is clearly much thicker than my top lip, so that is unfortunate. So for the top lip, I'm just trying to underline it. See, I already messed up. Totally fine though. And I have unfortunately, a very well-defined Cupid's bow. And because of this, it makes overlining my lips really hard. I haven't quite found a way to fix it yet. Other than just using a super dark color. And even then, it doesn't always work. Sorry, it's like much easier to see in my actual mirror instead of the camera. So she does have like a little bit of red to her lips, but the problem is that I don't really have like a color that would go well. At least I don't think I do. Most of the colors I have are either red or purple, and then I have like that one green. So let me just look and see if I have anything I can use I guess I can use like a lip gloss. That might be able to work, I think. Oh no, I think that might be too red. I don't know, I think I might do it anyway. Okay. This is what I mean, right? I'm like so haphazard with how I do my cosplay. I'm just like, this might work. And then it does or it doesn't. Yeah, like I think it kind of works, but like not really. I feel like maybe it's because it's too glossy. I also have to make sure not to like touch the bottom lip, which is really hard. All right, so really quickly, we're gonna try to get the wig on as best we can. So I'm just gonna put this on. I'm just kidding. Not yet. We needed some work, sorry. Okay. So this is a wig I got from Wigs Fashion, which I came across. Their wigs are actually not that expensive, and they're actually pretty good quality. Almost all the wigs I get are lace front, unless it's for a specific costume or character. And this one's kind of a cute, kind of brownish one, so. Oop. Don't want my, there we go. I don't quite want my forehead to be that big. Okay, so I've used this wig before, which is like fine. That's like not a big deal. But the problem is that I can't seem to style this wig well for the life of me. All right. Yeah. Okay. I'm also gonna have to glue it down. But I'm like super lazy and not sure if I want to. Ooh. Okay, there we go. Okay, good thing I have brown-ish hair. So I'm just gonna let that hang out, and if I don't like it, I'll change it up. But she has slicked back, like a slicked back top half. I'm just gonna use this because why not? All right. Now, it would be smarter sorry. Might have to transition this a little bit. Hold on. Like, one other thing I've noticed is that I have kind of like a small head. It's like not a judgment, just something I've noticed. It tends to be really annoying with my wigs because of that. I feel like this works pretty well. I'm just gonna brush it out because it's getting a little tangled. I haven't seen any like tangles be like too bad. just like as a reference too, all of the wigs that I get are synthetic because I find wearing like actual people hair to be a little much for me. Also, I don't know why, but it just feels like bad juju. Especially because like I don't need to do that. So like why take that from someone who might need it, right? Like, yeah. Okay. Well, this is the final face look. Awesome. I might try to tweak up the lips just a little bit more, but here we go. All right.